Airbus has announced it will stop making its super jumbo A380 in 2021, abandoning the world's biggest passenger jet. The 500-seater double-decker plane started flying in 2008, with some featuring showers, shops, bars and lounges on board. Airports had to build new runways and modify terminals to accommodate it.
So where did it all go wrong for one of Airbus's most ambitious creations? Joining us for Taking Stock this week, and to kick it off with that exact story, we have Richard Miles, Pro Vice-Chancellor at Sydney University, and Glenn James, host of My Millennial Money podcast, both joining us at the desk this evening.
Good evening.
Pleasure to have you both on board.
Thank you very
so
much.
much for joining us. Certainly the end of the line, isn't it, for the Airbus A380? A dozen years of service that it's been in. Glenn, I mean, was this plane just too good to be true?
I just think, you know, the airline industry, like technology can catch up with every industry. And over the last 12 years of it being in service, with more affordable airplanes to fly around, it's almost a no-brainer that companies would opt for a more competitive, you know, fuel-running plane. So.
Richard, what do you think? Do you think there should have still been a place for it in the market?
Look, I don't want your viewers to ever think that Sydney University wastes its money by letting people fly business class, but I have on occasion flown business class on an A380. I think the thing with it is that in the end, flying's never really great fun. And I think this sort of idea that you can turn a plane into a sort of flying hotel is in itself probably a bit of a mistake. Also, the showers were terrible. A tiny little trickle of water.
I would have loved to find that out for myself, but probably never will. Although they are going to be around for a while, aren't they?
They will be around for a while, because they'll get all the use they can from these things.
Yeah,
bars were great.
Right. Again, I'll have to take your word for it.
Right, because, I was wondering that too. You know, do we all kind of need to rush out and fly on one of these A380s before they literally come out of the sky?
I actually flew on the Qantas's first A380 at the end of last year, and that's just about to get its, you know, midlife crisis update. And so that will have another 10 years easily.
Yeah, right. So 20 years, you reckon?
Yeah, in total-ish. But I don't know what the big deal is like when it came out. When I arrive in LA, I don't want to be on with another 500 people waiting at customs. I'd rather be on a smaller plane.
And that's that's what airports have had the problem with as well, isn't it? Because you've got to disgorge all these people all at once into the airport.
Exactly.
I think people are more interested in the speed of journey now, how long it takes you to get from one place to another, and they didn't get you there that much quicker.
What about the infrastructure, though, that in terms of extending runways and things like that airports have done to accommodate these, you know, behemoths, and then they're not going to be around anymore? Yeah,
look, to be honest, I'm sure the airports would have went to the pockets of some of the airlines, so I don't know if that's a big consideration, but certainly I don't think it's a surprise that they're, particularly with Boeing, really, you know, wanting to take back the market share, and to be frank, I like Boeing better, so I've got a little saying, if it's not Boeing, I'm not going.
Really?
Oh, really? Right. Why is that? Do you know something we don't?
Well, no, I actually like Boeing. I like their cabin fit out better. It's as simple as that.
Right.
I mean, you don't have a lot of choice if you're flying Qantas somewhere and they've only got the A380. But if I can choose, I'll choose the Boeing 777, which is...
and you can actually do that when you're booking a flight. You can actually
they'll actually tell you what airline it is, So it's, to me, it's no surprise, honestly, because Emirates were really the only company that Boeing hung their hat on with the A380 program. So very interesting.
Richard, you said you weren't all that impressed with the showers. I mean, what would you like to see? I know you're being...
Only once. I got upgraded, so I'm making a lot out of one occasion.
No, as you should. I would do the same.
You consider all the features, though. I mean, what kind of features do you look for particularly, or would you like to see introduced on some of the new planes?
I think the main thing is if you're going straight into a meeting the next morning, then just being able to get some sleep. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
I mean, these days, I try not to drink or anything like that, because you just feel so terrible. I think it's just about basically having a little more space. I'd give up almost everything, showers, bar, the lot for that.
Yeah, just a bit of space. Yeah. And it depends on your constitution, doesn't it? Some people travel really well and others don't particularly. And there are clearly seasons within aviation and could well come back something of that size again.
Yeah.
All right, moving on now. Authorities are planning a crackdown on underage teens using online home delivery services to buy alcohol. All you need to purchase and have alcohol delivered on apps and websites such as Airtasker, Liquoroo and Jimmy Brings is a credit card and a smartphone. So how can you possibly police this? not to reveal too much, and I hope there's a statute of limitations on these things, but, you know, we all did things to get alcohol as before the age of 18, and won't reveal my strategies here and now, but it's just another loophole that it shouldn't be too hard to close up, should it?
Yeah. I think it'd be very easy to close it up, and maybe things got a little bit too easy, right? I mean, if you just need a credit card and a phone, you can get whatever you like.
There's not a lot of ID checks that go through, are there? I mean, I think you can go online and you can give a fake ID, a fake, you know, it's pretty easy to do.
You know, and what happened to asking your one friend who looks like they're about 10 years older?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what they used to do, right?
When I ordered something on Jimmy Brings recently, and, you know, they asked you to have your licence ready, but then they didn't want to look at it, so clearly, you know, I thought I could easily pass as 16, but, you know...
I think it's
deeply insulted.
I think it's a broader issue of, you know, 20th century legislation, you know, meeting 21st century technology, where, like, what about when, so Easter, I think, bottle shops are closed, can I still use Jimmy's? Can I still use the online providers to get alcohol that way if they've stocked up?
It's the 24-hour thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's this sort of idea we live in a society, and without sounding like too much like a hair shirt on this, but basically in the end, you know, being able to get everything whenever you want it, I don't think is a great idea at all.
Particularly if you're underage.
Exactly. But I think for anybody, right? I mean, the idea that, you know, it's such a bad idea to think, oh, I think I need another bottle of wine at 4 o'clock in the morning or whatever it is. You know, it's just that, I don't know.
There should be some of those restrictions.
Exactly.
You shouldn't be able to have it, yeah, as you say, 24 hours a day.
I was just going to say, it was interesting, the contractors that these companies are using, like, they're just a third-party contractor. If you get a job to go and pick up a long dog or something like that from the bottle-o and take it somewhere, you're being paid.
They don't really care who they're delivering it to.
There you go.
Yeah.
So I think it's...
you don't work for the police if you've taken a job on e-Tasker, you know.
Yeah. It's not really up to them to kind of police it, is there? So, so what do you think, Glenn? I mean, do you think that there should be tighter regulation on this? Should there be a clamp down, I guess, from the government?
I guess,
who would step in?
Yeah, I guess the New South Wales government need to probably put a system in place and do some random auditing, perhaps, just to, you know, whether the delivery person has to get a photo of the person's ID at the time, and log that. That would probably be the only way I can see it happening.
Yeah.
It's so easy to do, right? And I think it is the responsibility of the people selling this stuff. In the same way as, you know, when people unfortunately take drug overdoses at festivals, basically in the end it's the festival that really needs to be policing this stuff as well. I think it's the same with people that sell alcohol. It's so easy, as you said, just to sort of photograph an ID or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think particularly the teens getting their hands on it, you know, if you're a teenager, I know in my teens I used to work out every way to game any system just for the principle of it, but certainly I think it's easily fixed with maybe a photo of the ID and uploaded back to the system. Yeah,
we're certainly looking at tougher regulations, I think, at the moment coming into play. Let's move on to one of our other topics. Our last topic, actually, this is a really interesting one because dating, well, can be really tough, but this one British man is actually making it even tougher, asking to be reimbursed for $9 that he spent on a date after he was rejected. Angela Doyle was horrified when the man asked her to transfer the $9 along with his bank details after she politely told him that she wasn't feeling it. I mean, what on earth is going on here? He's almost treating this like a business, isn't he?
Anyone who's single, let's just...
No wonder this guy's at a dating app, right?
He's not going to make much progress.
I think the price of the G&T is what's holding you back, mate. Is that?
He's the type of friend that would order a pizza for everybody and then ask $1 from every friend for a slice.
It is. It's part of that thing, isn't it? I don't know whether you've ever got friends who you go and have something to eat with. You know, somebody gets out the calculator or something. It's just so awful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, just don't go out if that's what you
No, absolutely. I mean,
I would have, like, I was thinking before, it's like she should have texted back, said, that's fine, I've transferred the money, here's an invoice for my time. It was $100.
Exactly.
It's funny, though, because what he's saying is, I'll only give you a free drink if I get something out of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's, you know, he's got strings attached. He's not just a generous person with no agenda. Like, it's just horrendous.
But is there a sort of broader question here, and that's around all of these sort of apps, right? I mean, basically about antisocial behaviour, and maybe people are just losing their human skills, right? And this whole thing is so sort of self-reflective, isn't it? I mean, it's all about themselves, basically. All those ridiculous photographs of people trying to look like, you know, completely unrealistically good and sort of all of that kind of thing. And then, you know, when they meet reality of somebody going, you know what, mate, I'm not into you at all. It's just too much. They want their $9 back.
Yeah, and that's true, because not everybody is as advertised online necessarily. And she was very polite in her sort of kiss-off. She was like, all the best.
All the best. Thank you.
What I find sad is, I mean, dating almost has kind of lost its meaning a little bit. You'd often go out, you know, you go out with someone because you like the person, you buy them a drink because it's the right thing to do and the nice thing to do. But it's, you know, judging by that guy, he is almost treating it like a business now, isn't it? I mean, dating, it's changed so much.
But you hear stories of people going on multiple dates. So in other words, you know, it doesn't go so well at 7 o'clock, so they're out again at 8:30 or something like that. It's pathetic, isn't it?
Lining up your...
Well,
very calculated.
I know a girl who, over the course of one weekend, she had 10 dates lined up. And to me, that's tiring.
How exhausting.
I know.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I guess people look at it...
she's got to pay for half the drinks.
Well, it's a numbers game, isn't it? I mean, but it also raises the question about who should pay for the first date. Is it still sort of accepted wisdom that the guy pays on the first date, or is that outdated?
Do you split the bill?
Yeah, I did a survey with our podcast listeners on this, because we did an episode about, like, dating, and it was funny. Most people think, you know, etiquette, sure, let the guy pay, or whoever asks maybe can have some command there. Interestingly enough, most people didn't feel like they were rejected if someone offered to pay or wanted to pay.
Okay. So what about splitting the bill, so 50-50?
Yeah, I mean, I actually found in the survey we did, a lot of the younger people under 22, that was almost quite normal to do that. But I don't know if that's whether it's the uni scene or perhaps there's not that much income there, so it's acceptable to split.
Maybe just buy rounds of drinks, right? Instead of just having the bill at the end, which is a bit awkward, especially if it's sort of $300 or something like that. You know, just buy around. I think it's just a nice thing to do, right?
Yeah.
But is it also a generational thing? You're saying it's not. Were these millennials?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. But I just found it very interesting. The younger people who answered, they were more inclined to, one, split the bill, and it's totally okay, as opposed to, you know, whoever asks pays. But very interesting space.
Yeah, how times are changing.
Yes. It's a jungle out there.
It is. It is. Look, we will have to wrap it up there, but a pleasure having you both on. Thank you so much. Both of you, Richard Miles and Glenn James. Thank you.